to Search the Scriptures. Today we are on study number 6 in 2 Samuel, and this study covers two different chapters, 2 Samuel chapter 8 and 2 Samuel chapter number 9. And we're going to try to answer three different groups of questions here today. And the first one is this: what reasons does the writer emphasize for David and him having success? And secondly, how does David's treatment of the spoils of war differ in the way that he dealt with the gods that the Philistines had left behind when they captured them in the battle? And is there any reason for his different treatment of these two things, the idols and the spoils of war? And the third question, do you see any parallels between David's treatment of Mephibosheth and God's acceptance of us? So let's look at 2 Samuel chapter number 8 and 9 together, and we'll begin with the very first verse of chapter 8. In the course of time, David defeated the Philistines and subdued them, and he took Beth-Gamah from the control of the Philistines, and David also defeated the Moabites. And he made them lie down on the ground, and he measured them off with the length of a cord. Every 2 lengths of them were put to death, and the 3rd length was allowed to live. So the Moabites became subject to David and brought him tribute. Moreover, David defeated Hadadezer, son of Rehob, the king of Zobah, when he went to restore his monument at the Euphrates River. And David captured 1,000 of his chariots, 7,000 charioteers, and 20,000 foot soldiers. He hamstrung all but 100 of the chariot horses. And then, when the Arameans of Damascus came to help Hadadezer, king of Zobah, David struck down 22,000 of them, and he put garrisons in the Aramean kingdom of Damascus. And the Arameans became subject to him and brought tribute. And the Lord gave David victory wherever he went. And David took the gold shields that belonged to the officers of Hadadezer and brought them to Jerusalem from Tebah and Berothai, towns that belonged to Hadadezer. King David took a great quantity of bronze. And when Tou, king of Hamath, heard that David had defeated the entire army of Hadadezer, he sent his son Joram to King David to greet him and congratulate him on his victory in battle over Hadadezer, who had been at war with Tou. And Joram brought him articles of silver and of gold and of bronze. King David dedicated these articles to the Lord, as he had done with the silver and gold from all the nations that he had subdued: Edom and Moab, the Ammonites, the Philistines, and Amalek. He also dedicated the plunder taken from Hadadezer, son of Rehob, the king of Zobah, and David became famous after he returned from striking down 18,000 Edomites in the Valley of Salt. He put garrisons throughout Edom, and all the Edomites became subject to David, and the Lord gave David victory wherever he went. David reigned over all Israel, doing what was just and right for all his people. Joab, son of Zeruiah, was over the army, and Jehoshaphat, son of Ahilud, was recorder, and Zadok of Ahitub and Hamelech, son of Abiathar, were priests. Seraiah was secretary. Benani, son of Jehoiada, was over the Kerethites and Pelethites, and David's sons were priests. 2 Samuel chapter 9. David asked, "Is there anyone still left of the house of Saul to whom I can show kindness for Jonathan's sake?" Now there was a servant of Saul's household named Ziba, and they summoned him to appear before David, and the king said to him, "Are you Ziba?" "At your service," he replied. The king asked, "Is there no one still alive from the house of Saul to whom I can show God's kindness?" And Ziba answered the king, "There is still a son of Jonathan. He is lame in both feet." "Where is he?" the king asked. Ziba answered, "He's at the house of Machir, son of Ammiel, in Lodebar." So King David had him brought from Lodebar, from the house of Machir, son of Ammiel. When Mephibosheth, son of Jonathan, the son of Saul, came to David, he bowed down to pay him honor. David said, "Mephibosheth?" "At your service," he replied. "Don't be afraid," David said to him, "for I will surely show you kindness for the sake of your father Jonathan. I will restore to you all the land that belonged to your grandfather Saul, and you will always eat at my table." Mephibosheth bowed down and said, "What is your servant, that you should notice a dead dog like me?" Then the king summoned Ziba, Saul's steward, and said to him, "I have given your master's grandson everything that belonged to Saul and his family. You and your sons and your servants are to farm the land for him and bring in the crops so that your master's grandson may be provided for. And Mephibosheth, grandson of your master, will always eat at my table. Now Ziba had 15 sons and 20 servants. Then Ziba said to the king, Your servant will do whatever my lord the king commands his servants to do. So Mephibosheth ate at David's table like one of the king's sons. And Mephibosheth had a young son named Micah. And all the members of Ziba's household were servants of Mephibosheth, and Mephibosheth lived in Jerusalem, because he always ate at the king's table. He was lame in both feet. Now to the questions. The first question, what reasons does the writer emphasize for David's success? Well, 2 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 6 and 2 Samuel chapter 8 and verse 14 tell us specifically that the Lord gave David victory wherever he went. So David's success wasn't based on his own military genius or military might on the part of the nation of Israel, but rather it was based on the presence of God in the life of David. Second question, how does David's treatment of the spoils of war differ from the way in which he dealt with the gods of the Philistines when he captured those in battle? And is there a reason for this difference? Well, David brings back the spoils of war and he dedicates them to the Lord. He didn't bring back the foreign idols. Instead, we're told in Chronicles that he burnt them on the spot. David really rightly understood that to bring back foreign gods into the tabernacle, to dedicate them to the Lord, would probably not be such a good idea. Probably wouldn't have made it through the dedication ceremony, actually. The third question, do you see any parallel between David's treatment of Mephibosheth and God's acceptance of us? Well, in the same way that David searched out Mephibosheth, the Lord seeks out you and I in order to give us blessings that we've done nothing to deserve. We were once his enemies, but he seeks to restore all things to us anyway. And that's something that we need to be extremely grateful for today. I hope this study in 2 Samuel chapters 8 and 9 has been a blessing to you. Hope you're having a fantastic day so far. May God richly bless the rest of your day.